What's going on, family? Santee Sports here. And, there's a lot of right a whole lot of right. But there is a piece of wrong within this. Because over the years, you've watched the fans get pissed off when basketball players, and football players as well. Rather, they get to free agency and they don't stay with the town and they go elsewhere. Now, in this case and circumstance, you have DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie, an All-Star weekend in New Orleans enjoying himself. And in the process of talking to the reporters, they have a guy come out and say, hey, only All-Star questions here right now. And his remarks were, well, what other type of questions could they be? This was clear indication that he did not know he was traded to the Pelicans. He did not know. And furthermore, the message was pushed out to say, look, while you're out there, stay the fuck out there and we'll send your shit out there. Not to say top to bottom, that's exactly what happened, but it sounds about right to me. Okay? Now, let's jump into the nitty gritty. 16 technical fouls at the halfway mark. Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Now, have there been some excessive fouls on DeMarcus Cousins as far as technicals and unfair calls by the referees? Yes, absolutely. But everybody gets them. But for DeMarcus Cousins, all-out war, and some of the comments that he's made towards the referees, I think they have personally taken a stand, and no matter what, they're going to try to give this guy the blues. And they have went out of their way as much as he has, man, and they're both guilty. But I hold the referees to a higher standard for the fact that this is their job to call the game correctly and not to single out one guy. And I think 16 fouls or 16 technicals is an accumulation of them going out of their way to go ahead and fuck with this guy. But moving on. DeMarcus Cousins' circumstances, as a basketball player, as one of the top 10 best players in the league right now, the best 5 right now in the league. His circumstances are so different than anyone else's for the fact that in, I want to say 7 to 8 years, he's had 7 different head coaches in 8 years. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but 7 different head coaches. That's a big fucking deal, man. So you never really have time to get adjusted to a system and a format which you're comfortable and a guy that you can trust to help develop your craft. Because when these guys are coming in and out, they're bringing in a different crew and different assistant coaches and shooting coaches and whatnot in order to configure into the strategy of how they want to move the team. And within all of this, DeMarcus Cousins still has been able to develop and to be one of the top 10 best players. So I want to touch on everything now. The trade between these two, one of the worst trades in NBA history, period. I agree with that. I never agree with Skip Bayless, but I definitely agree with that shit. What, Buddy Hield, a couple draft picks, and I want to say they traded Caspi or whatever it amounted to. Tyreke Evans, a guy that's had like 3 surgeries in the last year or so, 2 or 3 surgeries on his knee in the last year or year and a half. Like, you really didn't get shit for him. Nothing. And for all this, they could have went over there in Sacramento and tried to spark another deal for Brandon over there in Los Angeles. They could have did that. Or possibly tried to get a trade for Jimmy Butler. But this is where you land him. And also, it shows that behavior matters, man. It really does. You cutting up, running your mouth, doing crazy shit, wilding out when you want to, and all this other shit, and figuring that your talent is going to hold you. It's not. Everybody's not prepared to put up with your bullshit no matter how good you are. And that's also a show of why he got dumped off in New Orleans. This is a quick show of why things like that are not going to be tolerated. It's not. And hopefully, just like we've said for Rondo, he shapes up when he gets over there and he stays away from the bullshit. You can't bring notoriety and attention to bullshit if you ain't talking about it and constantly fixated on it. If your mind is constantly there, well, then you have to deal with the bullshit of that situation because you're constantly trying to deal with that other than other things. And if you stay disciplined and keep your mind focused on the game, you ain't gonna be worried about the damn referee so much, in my personal opinion. And with him playing with Anthony Davis is a perfect situation for an excellent big and an excellent five to be able to get that shit off. This is a good dynamic duel. If and when they gel and they're able to build chemistry. Let me school you guys real quick, man, for you folks that do not know anything about these two players. Okay? DeMarcus Cousins plays the five, the center position. He can shoot the three, the mid-range shot, dominate in the paint. Excellent defense. Anthony Davis, he can shoot the three, the mid-range shot, dominate in the paint. Excellent defense. You have two guys that are very dominant on so many different things playing on the same team and both within the top 10 best players in the league. And they possess size and height and experience. This can be a complete avalanche, a serious bomb on the West Coast in particular if these guys can gel and get this shit done. A headache for anyone because you have to deal with all this size and as well as these big men can spread the floor. Not to mention what I missed with DeMarcus Cousins with Boogie, he can pass the ball well. Great, excellent combination to have these two. Definitely a double threat on the court and some folks that'll hand you your hat and confiscate the rest of your lunch money. Absolutely. I think it's going to be a good deal. It'll definitely work out good for DeMarcus. He can finally be in a situation that is stable where he doesn't have to keep worrying about his head coaches switching. And, Anthony Davis can have some help. As I said, DeMarcus Cousins is in a situation that is stable. It's not like he's in some military deal where you're switching house to house depending on where your parents are stationed at or what have you. No. You had a comfortable home in a comfortable setting where you can relax at, and the fans are going to appreciate you because they don't have too much to root for over there other than Anthony Davis. And now they have two bona fide stars. And he's going to appreciate the love that he gets over there, man. And hopefully it will help develop his craft, as well as for Anthony Davis, having somebody in practice to go at. I think this is going to work out a lot more better than people think. But just to sum these things up and everything else I've said here, Sacramento Kings are never going to be good. They are never fucking going to be good, okay? Putting all this pressure on Buddy Hield. They pushed him to the starting lineup in New Orleans, trying to do something there. He played 4 years in college. And I want you to think about something, okay? Who was the last guy in college that played 4 years and came out and was a bona fide superstar? Hold on, I'll wait. Yeah, Tim Duncan. Okay. So, it is what it is at this point. They don't really have nothing over there but Collison right now. They don't got shit. They set themselves where they want to be at. They still got that good head coach. He could possibly configure and do some things over there. But they've lost a whole lot for nothing. This is Santee Sports here. I'll holler at you. Y'all be safe now. In a minute.